Today I'm going to go over air compressors and how to air up your tire. There are basically two kinds of compressors, and I'll talk about each one of those differences in a second. The first one is battery powered. So that's what this is. This is a Stanley that we've had for a very long time. It's also a booster pack. And then this one is a wired one that wires into your car with the 12-volt outlet. You can also have a hardwired one that plugs into your household outlet. Between these two, there are benefits and there are pros and cons for each. So for this one, this is obviously cordless. It's battery powered. With the charge that when it's fully charged, we've been able to air up quite a few tires, a couple of cars, and it keeps working just fine. You probably couldn't boost your car after doing quite a few cars, but you know, it would still work. So the other benefit is that this can move to anywhere. The downside is that you're limited on power and obviously battery, and it gets hotter quicker. So for regular tires, you know, for your normal car, this is an Outback, they work fine. But if you have higher PSI tires, like for work trucks or something, then you need something that's either a tank or corded. And this is the smaller end of that on the corded side. But the benefit with this is it's not going to run out of power, and it will get warm, but it will not get as hot. It's designed to disperse heat a lot easier. And the benefit with this one that we love a lot is it comes with this. So you have a length of cord that goes to your 12-volt power point on your vehicle. And then the other benefit is this has a screw-on connector. And then on top of that, in the case that comes with it, if you have a larger vehicle or say you need to go further, there's this expandable hose here that also just screws on. And when I say screw on, let me just put that in here so you can see. So if you look, this is not a typical where you push and hold. There are little threads right there, and I love that because you can set it and walk away from it. So this is the same thing. Everything we have for vehicles has these threads. So if you look, that is also a thread on. And it's just such a huge, huge help when you're trying to get a lot done. Because if you're stuck on the side of the road, obviously you just want to set it and walk away. If you are at your house and you're setting this up, you know, and say you park in the street, you don't have a driveway or something like that, again, you just set it in the street next to your tire and just walk away. All right, so now I'm going to go over airing up your tire. There are several reasons for this to happen, obviously. It could just be a slow leak that's very small, or you could have been driving and had a puncture. Temperature changes from, obviously it's early morning summer here in Texas, and you know, as you go through the winter and then winter to summer, you're going to have those different adjustments on temperature. Altitude is also different. So when you go from a lower altitude to a higher altitude, the pressure difference is going to have less PSI in your tire as you go up. And then same thing if you're going up to coming down, you'd have to, you know, bleed out some air. There are a few basics to know for airing up tires. I'm going to show some close-ups in just a second. Every tire, there is a marking on here somewhere that's going to tell you how much pressure this can hold. And on either newer tires or work truck tires, it'll show you the cold air. So that means, you know, when the day starts and the tires haven't been running around. And that's very important. I like to stay below that. Some of these newer tires are around 50. You know, bicycle tires are anywhere in this huge range. And everyone has their different preference. I like 40. 40 gives us a lot of leeway from, you know, heat and everything building up, and it's just a good temperature. One thing to keep in mind is if you do live in a desert climate where you're going to have huge temperature swings, so you're going to have chilly mornings and boiling hot afternoons and then cold nights again, nitrogen is a really good option. There are a lot of stores, I guess, that allow you to fill up your tires with nitrogen, because nitrogen is a much, it's not as sensitive to those kind of changes. So that's something to consider if you are out in the, looking in a high temperature swing environment. When airing up your tire, there's a few safety things to keep in mind. And again, this is for entertainment only. The safety things to keep in mind are, you want to keep in mind where you are, so situational awareness. You want to make sure that if for some reason you have to pull off on the side of the road, really get off to the side of the road if you can. If, again, you are on a residential street and people drive crazy, weaving in and out of cars to get to school in the morning or whatever it might be, that's where, this thread-on thing is a really good option for tires, is because, again, you hook it up, you keep checking the gauge to make sure you're going to have the right settings, and then you can just walk away. And that way, when those cars come speeding down the street, this, when we do it, it sits like right here, and it's pretty close, and no one's thankfully come that close to the car. But it's a helpful thing to stay out of the way. You also want to make sure that you're not going to overfill. Some of the low profile tires, there's always those YouTube memes and stories of people with those thin tires. They don't know what they're doing, and they keep trying to fill it and fill it and fill it because they think it's supposed to be, a few inches of wall, and they only have an inch or something. And these are designed with huge margins for safety, for overpressuring and stuff. But that's just something to keep in mind. And I'm going to take this cap off. I usually like to run my fingers around just so the threads are clean. Make sure threads are clean on here. You're just going to screw it on. You'll hear a small hiss. That was it. And then if you look on here, at least, the gauge has gone up. Maybe. Yep. And then you would just press it and fill it up to your desired pressure. And then when you're done, you will unscrew it. Make sure to do it quick, and you'll hear the air coming out. Make sure to put this back on, your stem cap, and then you just clean up. And that's it. That's how you air up a tire. All right, well, thank you for watching. That was how to air up a tire and the basics of it.